Hello everybody, Emily and I are here to go see a movie in the summer. One of the best ways to beat the heat is to watch a movie. And the funny thing is, in Vegas, a lot of movie theaters are in casinos. So we're gonna have to trek through a casino in order to go see Masters of the Universe. We will do a review later after the movie. Alrighty, so just want to wrap up with the movie review of Masters of the Universe. Emily and I went to the movie theaters today to watch the movie, and we're ready to give a little bit of a review. So what did I think? First of all, just like any kid who grew up in the 80s, He-Man was a pretty big part of my childhood, had a bunch of the action figures. The funny thing is that I'm not really the huge He-Man fan. My mother was. That was really kind of interesting. She even has a major statue that she got that was signed by the Four Horsemen for the relaunch of He-Man that happened in the mid-2000s. She got it from Comic-Con. So I kind of wanted to see the movie more from my mom than anything else. I was curious to see how they would pull it off. I knew that it was being directed by Travis Knight, who directed Bumblebee, which I loved. I thought that was the best of the live-action Transformers movies. So if anybody could adapt He-Man and stay pretty faithful to especially the 80s cartoon, which is what I'm most familiar with, you know, I was there for it. And, you know, to be honest, I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was cheesy, it was definitely very campy, but it really felt like a live action version of the Filmation cartoon more than anything. Again, it's the only real like point of reference that I have, but I do like all the homages that they did for it and the callbacks that they did. Let's start with the visuals. I thought the visuals were amazing. I thought that it created a very colorful world that was very fantastical. It was very organic, lots of different kinds of plants. Funny enough, not a lot of animals, so there was a lot of flora, but not a lot of fauna. But you definitely could feel the otherworldliness of Eternia, and I really liked that. There was definitely also in the design of the world, you could tell there was kind of some history behind it, not to the level of like Lord of the Rings or anything like that, but you could tell, you know, there was a specific design and themes going on for the Eternian armies, and then there's Skeletor's henchmen and his armies had very distinct designs. So I definitely appreciated that. And overall, I think that they did a really great job paying homage to and adapting the costumes for the characters. Skeletor especially looked amazing. I know he was pretty much all CGI, but he looked very much like the action figure brought to life, and I really appreciated that. So I thought that was great. Sound design was good. The music was loaded with not only like 80s rock songs, there was a lot of Queen in it, things like that. So it gave it that kind of like Flash Gordon-y feel. And Brian May, I believe, did the main theme on the electric guitar, which I thought was great. The movie overall was filled with a lot of like 80s style guitar solos, which I kind of appreciated. I thought it added a different dimensionality to movies. You know, a lot of times you see fantasy movies with strictly orchestral scores. So I thought this was great, a different type of score. And again, harkened back to kind of like fantasy movies from the 80s, which this, you know, movie is an homage to. So I definitely appreciated the sound design there. As far as the story goes, it's funny because it's kind of similar to the 80s Dolph Lundgren movie, you know, where part of the movie takes place on Earth. It's not a huge part of the movie by any means, because he finds his way back to Eternia pretty quickly. It's a, you know, traditional type of hero's journey, trying to figure out, you know, where he fits in this world and kind of rising up to the challenge. It's kind of a coming of age story too for Adam, and I think that that does well. They don't get into really a lot of heavy subject matter. It could have gotten a lot more serious, but they went for the more melodramatic, campy way, which again, I had a lot of fun with. I thought it added a great feel to the movie, so that it had stakes, but it also had emotion on its sleeve, but it also didn't make itself overly serious. I think that's probably the biggest thing that people will probably love or hate. People who really take the lore seriously may hate that, but I think it was fun. I thought it was just a good adventure movie, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. The main actor, Nicholas Galitzine, I think is awesome. He plays the role really well. He's very vulnerable. He brings out kind of the more human side of Adam, and then coming to learn and accept the manliness of He-Man. It's kind of a continuing push and pull in the movie, and I definitely appreciated his performance. The big surprise, though, was Jared Leto. One, you can barely tell it's Jared Leto. If you didn't even know that he was in the movie, you probably couldn't even tell that he was Skeletor. And the voice he does, I'm not a huge fan of the voice. He sounds very much like Tim Curry in his prime. But the way that Skeletor is written, I think is hilarious. Skeletor, to me, probably more than anyone in the movie, really embodies the Skeletor from the Filmation cartoon. He's just, I mean, he called somebody a boob. I think that's pretty classic Skeletor, so I really enjoyed that. Performance all aboard were pretty solid. I like the jokes, I like the inside jokes, I like the homages, I like how they explain why some of the He-Man characters have, you know, to be honest, have pretty ridiculous names. Like Ram-Man and Fisto are pretty ridiculous names. And He-Man's a pretty ridiculous name. So I kind of like the conceit in the movie of why those characters are named those characters. But overall, like I said, I think it was just a really, really fun movie that told a good story, that had some stakes, and I really enjoyed it. Emily really enjoyed it too. One, she's not really watched a lot of He-Man. She watched a little bit of the Netflix Revelation He-Man with me. She's watched She-Ra, but she hasn't really, paid a lot of attention to He-Man. But as soon as the movie was over, she said, that was awesome. So, it has my 10-year-old's seal of approval, and it definitely had mine. So if you are on the fence about watching He-Man, but you just want, maybe to have a good time, I know money's tight, things like that, but it's a great escapist adventure. It's great to watch on the big screen, to see all the beautiful visuals, and as well as the awesome guitar solo music. So cool thing for the movie is they were also giving out some swag for the movie, and it came with this pretty rad poster for Masters of the Universe, if you can see that. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. So yeah, thumbs up for us for Masters of the Universe. And that wraps up this review of Masters of the Universe. If you like this video, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified of new videos on our channel. And no matter where you find yourself on this journey, please take a moment, however brief, to take a closer look at life. Bye for now.